Hi. So, of late, I have studied about a subject which I never touched before because there was this conception that there are certain things in life that touches other people and it won't touch you. Um, it would not. You won't come in contact with certain things. But having an experience that has something to do with money laundering, it just got me interested into finding things out and bringing what I found to you through this video. So whoever is meant to watch it will watch it. So what do you mean by money laundering? Money laundering, as you know what laundry is, cleaning up. Why do you need to clean up money? Because it's dirty. What do you mean by dirty? Dirty means it is procured through illegal activities. It also means that even if it is procured through legal activities, you don't pay tax on it. And the government, the administration in every country, I guess there are now 185 or maybe 196, I'm not too sure, however many countries are there, all those countries have governments running the entire administration and they are looking after things. And for that, they take taxes from people at various different levels. There are direct taxes, there are indirect taxes, and there are several levels as well. Your state will take, the center will take, the retailer would take if it is a commodity, and if it is a service, then also you end up paying a lot of taxes. If not a lot of taxes, nowadays sizable amount. All right, so this is what I found out because this was a point of curiosity for me, that how do you find that a certain place is with uh, plagued with money laundering. And what is money laundering? When you clean up black money slash dirty money, something that I just spoke about. So here is an illustration that I made. So how do you find out that a certain place is plagued with black money? So let's suppose that there is a region. This could be a country, town, city, whatever, and it has a lot of people who are not doing very well, who are not financially well off, and there are very few people who have abundance. Now this is the biggest proof that that particular place is it is it is where black money is being created. And with black money, you know that that place is infested with illegal activities. Why I say what I say is, first of all, let's go systematically because I made an illustration. I would like to make use of it. Black money means dirty money. So since it's dirty money, you need to wash it. Why do you call it dirty money? Because it's procured through, you get it through illegal activities. What do you mean by illegal activities? That your government, your constitution, your law doesn't permit you to do, like drugs, terrorism, other things, gambling. So you don't, since you have not told the government what is the source of your money, you can't pay taxes on it, so you don't pay taxes. As for those activities that are legal activities, you wouldn't want to pay a lot of tax on it. You wouldn't mean, some people would not want to pay a lot of tax on it. So what they do, they start evading tax. They don't pay the tax, the amount that is required of them, depending on the category, on the category of uh, tax bracket that they fall into. All right, so if you are paying no tax or if you are evading tax, what happens? The amount of money that the administration slash government has for government spending, for government activities, through which it provides employment to a certain category of people, provides subsidies to them, food subsidy, power subsidy, whatever, that gets, obviously, that amount of money gets compromised, because all these government people, your leaders, your neither, they're not paying it out of their own pockets, neither have they come here for social service. It's an industry, full-fledged organized industry, like any other industry. They get a job of looking after certain area of administration, and that's what they do. So if they don't have money to for redistribution of the collected money from your tax, either through direct tax or indirect tax, what happens? They don't spend. They spend it on themselves because they give themselves salary, but they don't spend it on you, no matter how bad is your condition. Because as already stated, it's not a charitable business anymore. It's not Raj Dharma anymore. Because those were the days where people, where the government or the Raja or the king was just looking after your protection and making sure nobody, you don't come across fraudsters. They will put them to book if they do some kind of a fraud with you, financial or any other. So that was the only that was a major but only role of the state. Here and now, the government has stakes in everything. They have they are running all industries at their levels. Major industries are with them. So they don't spend it on you. Since they don't spend it on you, through various different projects. They don't even have money for implementation of policies that they devise. So what happens? There is a huge disparity in the social system that you see. So, as I said, one big reason, well, not reason, one big proof of whatever place that you have entered is infested with illegal activities or not, is when you see a lot of disparity in the society. There are a lot of poor people and a handful of rich people. Let's get dive deeper. So this disparity, what would you attribute it to? Wait a minute. What would you attribute it to? This particular this is the recipe. Okay. Now, how do you confirm this disparity? In economics, there is this tool called Gini coefficient, according to which, if you get 0 as your Gini coefficient, that means there is absolutely no inequality. There is perfect equality. If you get 1, there is absolute inequality. So the countries in present day times that are that are that have highest Gini coefficient are countries like South Africa, Brazil, Venezuela. So these are the northern part of South America. And then you have Indonesia, and there are a few other countries as well that top the charts, not in a good way. S- And there are countries that have perfect equality, like Netherlands, Finland, Belarus, Singapore also. So is there something that catches your attention? If not, let me tell you. So this tool of Gini coefficient, which tells that there is almost perfect equality in Netherlands and Finland and all those, and Scandinavian as well as Slovak countries, etc. And there's a lot of inequality in places like South Africa. Almost 63 is the Gini coefficient, which is like very very high. And Brazil and Venezuela and Indonesia, in India, our rank is 43rd. We and our rank was around 68 about 10 years back. So this is, no, I think I made a mistake. Sorry. 43 is the Gini coefficient, and it was 68 10 years back. So we aren't doing anything great either. Uh, But thank God for the little mercies. It's not 68 anymore, and we are not topping the charts of inequality. So, so these people with highest inequality are the people with highest financial frauds as well. So now you know, when you are dissatisfied with the social setup and you fall into the category of have nots, or maybe into the category of people who would like to have more, that's the place where financial frauds or chances of money laundering would increase many folds. This was one tool. Gini coefficient was one tool. There is another way if the government really would like to find out whether there is black money, and they do try to find out at whatever level, discounting the level of efficiency and commitment towards solving the problem. So, the second tool is when the income in a country, what is income in the country? Found through GDP per capita, right? So, plus we match it with the taxes collected. So if the income does not tally somehow with the consumption level, we are obviously making discounts for the informal sector, unorganized sector, that who do not pay direct taxes. Yet after discounting that as well, if this particular equation where in some way income should be correlated to the consumption, that's not making sense. You know that something is wrong. Whenever you feel something is not right in whichever field, emotional, spiritual, physical, whatever, when something is not making sense, actually things are not right. So, consumption in places with high money laundering is higher than the income that is reflected. That's because people who have uh, attained that black money, dirty money, through illegal sources, they end up they end up spending it in cash intensive activities and commodities. What are cash intensive commodities? Gold. They start investing it in gold and diamond because they have to spend it somewhere. They have to uh, layer it somehow in the financial system. Okay. And activities, what are the cash intensive activities? These are paying more, paying for holidays, and so many. We'll talk about it in a minute. So now you know, when you go to a place where you see a lot of disparity, a lot of poor people, very few rich people, but those rich people are stinking rich, you know that place has a lot of money laundering, black money activities going on. There are ways that an economist or a person who's interested in economics would use to know whether the hunch that they have is right or not, by looking into several datas that are available these days on your internet sites, uh, which tell you what is the Gini coefficient. If there is inequality, that's confirmed. You know, black money is being generated. A lot of illegal activities are going on. Then another way, if you're a part of the government, you would obviously know. Even if you're not part of the government, in any stream of administration, when you see that the people who are working under you, their income is less, but they're consuming a lot, you know that they have some extra source of income. So this is what it is. There is this third thing that you need to remember is, mm, yeah, the third thing is that tax evasion takes place because in that region that we were talking about, that hypothetical region that we were talking about, because the government has poor economic fundamentals. It's not able it's not able to make things perfect. There is in high inflation in the system. High inflation would mean the multiplier effect would be less because the banks would keep a higher ratio, the liquidity ratio with themselves, and will let relatively smaller amount they'll channelize lesser amount into the society. So the multipliers effect would be affected. Then second thing is that people who have, even there is a lot of inflation, let's say for on account of petrol, all those people who have access to subsidized petrols, they will sell it at a very high rate by themselves procuring it at a lower price. This is by having insiders, having access to some insider in the system. So they'll get anything, any commodity which is, it can be gold, it can be any precious metal or any chemical, or like vaccines that happened last year. There's some of the vaccines, there was a lot of uh, black marketing going on. They knew that the vaccines were quite precious, so they were selling it at a very high rates. Of course, things were fixed after a certain period of confusion and mayhem. Uh, all right, so when things, coming back to the point, from the government side, when things are not efficient enough, they are not able to generate good statistics, then you know that black marketing is going on. People see a lot of loopholes. People who have a bent of mind towards illegal activities would see those loopholes as an opportunity to mint money, even though later on, at the end, they may end up in jail. They do end up in jail sooner or later, but they do cause a lot of damage to black marketing or money laundering. How? As already explained, because they are creating a lot of inequality in the system, and there is not enough money available for poor people who almost completely rely on the redistribution tools that the government puts into place for creating greater degree of equality in the society. So the social cost increases many folds because of certain people who are befooling others. So far, you may not be on the same page as I. I mean, you may not be feeling as enthused about the subject, but stay with me, because there's something I needed to talk about, having experienced things myself, that I did not know this, and I could have paid dearly for it, thanks to certain things that salvaged me on at the 11th hour. So that was a fraud that I was salvaged from. But then I have made mistakes because I didn't know how things operate. This was one shadow part of the society I never visited. We are always we're always more uh, we always find resonance with the linear path, the right path, so we don't even bother to find out what things are wrong with the society, and those things can harm us too. So it may look theoretical at the moment, but it is going to be good. You ought to know that money laundering, what are the ways so that you don't fall into the trap. Okay, so when you say money laundering, what do? They get money from these illegal sources, or they evade taxes, and then there are three ways they operate. They want to place it somewhere. So the first problem that they face is of placement of the money they have procured. And it is in lakhs and in crores. So they need to park it somewhere. Like first come first thing. No, first come first thing. First things first. Yeah. First things first is to place it somewhere. After placing it, so where do they place it? For example, as soon as they have uh, minted a lot of money, they send it to places like Swiss Bank, where their personal finance would be kept completely safe and secure, um, plus nobody would come to know. They don't share information about their customers with anyone or to any tax free country. And then they start the next stages. Okay, they have put it somewhere. Now they want to use that money. Otherwise, what good is money if you don't use it? So if they use it, they'll be caught, they'll be called out, because people will ask them, Where did this money come from?" So they need to layer it in these financial system, legal financial system in the country. So how do they layer it? They layer it by, if they have a business going on, they would either create over invoice, higher invoice, or under invoice. They'll show it to the government by that they are doing everything legal, by inflating the wages, the salaries of people working under them. So they would do a lot of different things. They will open shell companies. What are shell companies? The ones that don't exist, but you show that they exist. They don't work, but you show that they work. And that's how you show that this is where we are getting all the money. This is how we are creating things. So those are the ways you layer it. You layer it. That's what they try to do. And then finally, after successful, sometimes partially successful layering, the money gets integrated in it gets there, this integration happening, and it becomes a part of the financial system. And so what's wrong in that? It gets a part because they did not pay taxes to the government, so the government doesn't like it. They don't like it also because they are not able to do welfare activities, which they ideally should be doing. And more often than not, they do it to a large extent. This is this is the second part of it, second tier of what I want to talk about. Now here comes the meaty portion. According to me, there's several ways. If you want to launder money, if you want to clean up money, wait a minute, it's not clear. Is it clear now? I hope it is. Yeah. So if you want to clean up your black money, you need to have money first. At a very small level, at micro level, how would you get that money? So at micro level, you are inflating the prices. If you're a retailer, if you have a shop, if you're giving away services to people for some of one sort or the other, you'll inflate the prices. That's one way. Or you will steal money. The worst category is stealing money, chori, or theft. Theft can be done through by befooling people who already don't have money, but you would befool them by giving them more greed about things that they need. Different people need different things. You need to identify what they need and then use it as a carrot and then treat them with a rod. That's how they do, that's how they operate. All right, so how do they befool people? By online lottery, by online rummy, online not online yeah, online lottery, online rummy, and horse race, and yeah, and you would be surprised, as I was surprised, that there are many states in India who have allowed lottery and rummy. They have made it legal, maybe because they pay 18% GST or whatever be the case, or other commissions under the table commission. We don't know. I don't know. But then why do they still continue? There are 13 to 15 states that have legalized it. They shouldn't have. And which includes, very surprisingly, for lottery, online lottery, Madhya Pradesh was in. For online rummy, Madhya Pradesh was in. And this was a surprise for me because Madhya Pradesh is one of the Bimaru states, which means it's one of those sick places, sick as in uh, they don't have a high GDP, state GDP. One of the least GDPs in 5 states. 5 states were supposed to be during 80s Bimaru or sick because they could not generate enough. Uh, mm, they could not generate enough domestic product. So obviously, and Madhya Pradesh also has liquor selling legalized. So apparently and it has highest rates of petrol and cylinders. So since other business activity, healthy business activities, healthy money generation does not happen, so they have resorted to wrong things, which has led it, that is Madhya Pradesh, to become mm, one of the places with highest crime rates. What else? Ideal recipe, right? For making things bad. So these were, as I said, inflating the prices of the commodities or services that you sell, and then theft and stealing, and then of course Ponzi schemes, where you lure investors of high returns, take their money, promising them high returns, and for some days, for some months, you do give them high returns, but that's not because you're working very well. That's because you are you are channelizing part of the new investors' money to the old investors, and when your new investors flow starts to dry out, you would stop, or you would discontinue paying to your investors, and then finally fold up your whatever this establishment and disappear. So that's how many investors are befooled. So that happens. Let this be the smallest category. The second category is when some people deal in drugs and terrorism. That's cash intensive. That's cash intensive. That's an industry. So if you have heard people say that, oh, those people are into terrorism because they believe in it. No, only the grassroots people there must be befooled. It's a proper industry. It's an employment for them. And if they were more educated, more evolved, they would not have been a part of this industry. So a lot of money takes exchanges. They change hands because it has to be in cash. Otherwise, the trail would be easier. And the whole thing about layering is that layering, the second part of money laundering, is that just make people, just make your the beneficiary's name opaque forever. That's why Bofor's details were never found out. So this is what it is: lot of money, lot of cash, um, is made by killing people through drugs, killing people through terrorism. It's a dangerous level. Once you've made that, the third category is commission. Now, there are people who take commission from them, and that's why crime rates just don't come down. Uh, and there are so many people killed, and there are countries with lesser crime rates. Uh, they also have less financial frauds, and they have lesser crime rates because there is lesser institutional weakness. The policing is better. They are not interested into commissions because there is greater equality. If you have something, can't lure you with the same thing. There has to be something else, right? So people with, as I said, the root cause of everything is inequality of some sort. So people here at places of authority, they take commission from, not all, a very small part. And this happens because the crime rate does not go down. Sometimes as an eye wash they make it go down for a while, but not permanently. While there are places where crime rate is next to nil, which is a proof that you can make your crime rate nil, but it is not getting to the nil level, or not nearly nil, or not coming down remarkably, because there is some kind of a collusion. So you take commission from people to let their informal economy go on, this shadow economy to continue, and they can't report it anywhere. These people can't report about the people who take commission, because who would they report it to? They themselves have procured this money from illegal sources, so they have no choice than to just siphon it off. A part of it is siphoned off. So that's money laundering for you. So when you if I were to summarize, inequality in a society means money laundering. second thing is Second thing is that if you fall into this category of the first tier of fraudsters tried to fraud you, be careful. Be careful. Don't let others know what your point of greed is. We all have it in varying degrees, some less, some more. Don't let others people, they capitalize on it. And terrorism and drugs is an industry. There are people who take commission from them, and that's why these people, they still thrive, they still exist. Otherwise things would have been different. So this is what I had today to talk about. I hope it helped. Bye.